Let's welcome Jimmy Camp and Ryan Jones with Maricopa County.
Well, welcome to Maricopa County. We're in Maricopa County, encompasses all of greater Phoenix and then quite a bit of desert. My name is Jimmy Camp. I'm the county bridge management engineer. I've been with the county for about 8 years. Prior to coming to work for the county, I spent my career with New Mexico DOT. And then I've got Ryan Jones, my co-presenter. Ryan's been with the county a little bit longer than I've been with the county, but he's been with the bridge group a little bit less than I've been with the bridge group. So Ryan takes care of all of our bridge inspection work, our bridge management, bridge maintenance, bridge preservation, some load rating. Anything that's odd stuff, I give it to Ryan. So, so anyway, so our DOT is kind of a little bit different DOT. Maricopa County is a very big and growing area of the United States. Our county DOT is very big. We have 413 employees. We have 41 professional engineers, and this is just in our DOT. We have other engineers in our environmental groups and our I don't know, different areas of the county. But like I say, we have a full-size DOT. We have 4 bridge structural professional engineers in our group, and you're seeing half of us here. There's a few of the others in the audience. So. Anyway, the size of our county is very large. We're in a land area, we're larger than 7 states. Arizona is unique in that we only have 15 counties, and we got a huge state, but there's only 15 counties. So our counties are very, very large, a lot different than a lot of other areas of the country. Our population is over 4.5 million people. We have more people than half the states in the union. So we're really a big place. And basically, we have Greater Phoenix, and then which we have Phoenix, and then we have sounds like Surprise, Goodyear, Glendale, Buckeye, I don't know, wherever, Mesa. And then further out from that, we have the county. So a lot of our work is actually way outside of the Phoenix metro, although we as cities and annex different areas of our inventory as a growth, they usually leave us a problem. So we have some problems right in the middle of parts of Phoenix. So keeping track of our inventory can be a real problem. We have a GIS system that works out very well for us. In this particular show, this shows us our roads happen to be the blue roads. And then if you see where the green roads and the red roads are, that's where we own half the road. A city may own the other half of the road. We own the north side and they own the south side. And then the other areas, the roads that are white are probably owned by the cities. And then the gray roads are usually owned by the state. So just keeping track of who owns what and who's responsible for what can be is a huge effort and a challenge for us. So anytime we get a problem on a bridge or something else, first of all, we got to figure out who owns it. In county inventory, we have 456 structures that we inspect and look at. We have 71 span bridges that are over canals, rivers, and washes. We have basically 17 bridges that are over 300 foot in length. And then the remainder of our span bridges are 12 plus 42, so 54 that are less than 300 foot in length. Then we have a lot of culverts. We have 224 culverts that meet the federal definition. They carry the 20-foot wheel path. And then we inspect 161 of the smaller box culvert structures. Basically, in our county, we really have a unique situation here in that it very rarely ever freezes here. We just don't get snow. We may get a snowstorm once every 2 years or something. We get an inch and it melted 30 minutes later and that sort of thing. But overall, our bridges don't have the environment they have in other parts of the country. So, but even with that said, our good condition bridges are basically 33% of our inventory, and the others are 2/3 of them are in fair condition, and we have 0% in poor condition. So we have that big group that are in fair condition. Those are the ideal candidates to do bridge preservation on. Some of the things we deal with bridge preservation, we have a lot of bridge deck cracking over time and delamination of the bridge decks. Leaky expansion joints are a problem. We have a lot of voided slab units, side-by-side units that were just topped with asphalt, and those become problematic. We have erosion and scour issues. When it does rain and do that sort of thing, it can really rain hard. We get quite a few inches in just a few hours sometimes. Our concrete deterioration, we get some of that, especially in where we have wet and dry zones. And then we have silting of culverts, and vegetation can be a problem. We do have one fracture critical bridge, which happens to be a load posted bridge. It was built in, I think, 1928, and that one we'll see a little bit more on that one here in a bit. It was damaged. And then we have one scour critical bridge, and that bridge is going to be replaced here in a couple of years, so that we'll no longer have a scour critical bridge once we get that bridge replaced. Greater Phoenix, we have 24 cities and towns in the area, so just like I say, trying to figure out who owns what and who's responsible for what can be quite a challenge. Our average temperature in the summer, according to a Google search, was 93 degrees. That's the average between day and night. So it gets very warm here in the summer. We basically don't salt any roadways. We have very few days of freezing temperatures. We have a huge population boom in this county. Last year, we had about 83,000 people move into the county. And that, if you look back over the last 3 to 4 years, 80,000 people every year is very common for people to move into Maricopa County and call it their home. We have a lot of bridges that are constructed over water canals. These water canals are used for irrigation. These canal companies usually claim that they were there before the bridges were there. So whenever we work on the bridges, they claim they always have prior rights. And so not only do we have to fix the bridges, we usually have to fix the canals in order for them to let us work on our bridges. So a lot of you guys may have worked with railroads. Well, canal companies are just about as bad or worse to work with than railroads are. So, but it just takes a lot of effort. And then generally we only have a 2-week dry up window. Usually around Thanksgiving, these canals, they'll dry up the canals so they can do maintenance work on the canals. Well, anytime we have bridge work on those canals, that's when they want that work done. Also, Ryan will get into it when he does the inspection work. That's the 2 weeks he can get under the bridge to do the bridge inspection. So we basically, nobody goes on vacation around Thanksgiving usually, because that's usually a busy time for us. We do our own NBI bridge inspections for the most part. We have had AzDOT do a few of our fracture critical or underwater, and some of the canal bridges where getting permits was very, very difficult for us. And since they're doing the canal bridges for many of the other cities and some of the other counties on those canals, we let them do some of the canal bridges. For bridge replacement, rehabilitation, maintenance, and things, we basically have a 5-year plan that we use. We enter our information into our GIS asset management system and also into the BRM system that basically AzDOT provides a lot of the services for that for us. And then prior to 2020, we actually had some other systems that did some of our GIS work and stuff, and we've kind of gone to a new system here recently. But anyway, technology really helps us out. We're always looking at our road information tool, and that without that, I don't know how we'd keep track of what we own and what somebody else has annexed and that sort of thing. Prior to 2016, well, I started with the county in 2013, but it took us a few years to get going, but prior to 2016, very little preventative maintenance work was done in the county. Generally, bridge inspections were done. Lists or work that needed to be done was made, and then Once in a while, some of the maintenance crews would do a little bit of the work, but generally the next inspection, you'd see the same issues again and again. We identified a lot of bridge preservation needs in 2013 and 14, and then finally in 2016, our management gave us $1 million a year to go toward bridge preservation. And then we do a lot of our work with job order contracts. In other words, we have Arizona state law allows us to hire contractors on a qualification-based basis. So basically, we select our jock contractors, and then we're able to use them generally for the next 5 years. But we negotiate each task each task that we give them, we negotiate it as we go. Cracking, this is one of the things I use to really sell. This was probably the biggest problem we had in the county. Just these bridge decks were all cracked up. I don't know if you can see the cracking very well or not, but sometimes a lot of map cracking. But anyway, basically it's like if you wait till this deck's bad enough and the girders go, you might need a new bridge, which would be maybe $180 a square foot for us. If you just wait and just need a new deck, well, that might be $70. However, I can do some of these sealants or epoxy treatments or those sort of things, and it's a lot less. And I can do that, and I could preserve these bridge decks for many decades. And potholes are very expensive, believe it or not. Everybody said, well, it's just a pothole. I know in New Mexico one time, they showed me a bridge. It was 40% pothole. And then they tell me, well, we don't have money to fix it. And I go, you already spent more money than it would have if you'd given me the money to replace your bridge deck. So it's like, don't tell me you don't have money, because you've already spent that money, and you're going to continue to spend it till sometimes you reach a point where you just have to replace that bridge deck or whatever it is. And with this, I'll turn it over to Ryan and let him tell you about some of the things he's been working on.
As Jimmy said, I'm the bridge inspector for Maricopa County owned assets, and because of that, I doing the inspections, I can go and see the issues and maintenance items that we may need to do. And so I get with Jimmy, and me and him, like he was talking about, we try to determine a 5-year plan and try to take care of our bridge maintenance. And from these pictures right here, these are a couple of deck overlays that we completed, and we actually do the approach slabs on these too, in most cases. A couple of joints where they've been torn or where they're not doing their job anymore. And so, as you can see here, it's a lot cheaper to just replace a joint than have to go and replace a pure cap or a diaphragm. This next picture right here, these are a couple of the joints that we've actually replaced, and now they're nice and new and they're stopping the leaking from happening. We're able to help take care of that as well. The maintenance work that we've done to date, so like Jimmy said, we got the funding back in 2016, and so then we started coming up with our lists and items of bridges. And so usually when we do that, we kind of started with some of the worst case bridges, but we've gotten to the point where we kind of do area specific so that we can keep the mobilization costs down on JOC contracts, because that actually takes up quite a bit of money to have them move around the county, since, like as Jimmy said, we're kind of the outside of the major cities and stuff. So we've got 6 more anticipated coming up this fiscal year. They're supposed to be starting those I think January and February coming up here. And then in the past, we've the kind of maintenance that we've done, we've done the bridge deck ceilings, epoxy overlays, replaced expansion joints, concrete repair, and that usually consists of repairing the deck for delamination or potholes. We've got erosion mitigation that we've done, vegetation removal, debris removal, bearing replacement. This one's kind of a new one that we tried this last year. Was we created a access gate, I guess you could call it, to keep homeless from crawling in between 2 girders and making a home in there, because it actually, I guess, I don't know, makes a nice little home for them. In the past, we've also, I think this one was a couple years ago, we did a bridge widening where we extended it a couple of, so it was a voided slab bridge, and we extended a couple of units and then added a concrete deck on top. Here's a picture of one of the bridges. This one we did an epoxy overlay, so you can see on the top where we've got the cracking that's going along the deck, and then the new overlay on top. On the bottom, we had some vegetation and erosion issues that were going on, and so each corner of this bridge, we had them remove the vegetation and try to do a slope so that the water could kind of slope away from the bridge girders right there. Also, in this particular one too, homeless were actually digging underneath that girder, making a home also, so that was also to help prevent the homeless from crawling underneath that girder right there. This is the same bridge that was on the previous one. We actually had to put up these barrier access gates that we stuck up on the bridge as well, so that we could try to prevent that, because when I'm out there doing inspections, I would hate to have a surprise of, having someone maybe passed away or something like that up there, so we're trying to prevent something like that from happening. Damage to bridges as well. This particular bridge, Fracture Critical Bridge, it's one of our older structures here in the county. And I remember doing the inspection in October, and then we get a phone call, I think it was like February maybe, saying, hey, what are you guys going to come and do about your bridge? And we're like, what are you talking about? And we came out and saw that our portal trusses had been bent on this bridge because of an oversized vehicle apparently drove through there. So we got the funding together and got some plans together, and we rehabbed this bridge, straightened the trusses, put in new damaged members that were kind of, it was new members, but we tried to make it look as similar as we could to the old existing truss as we could. On this bridge, so on the top, we have the vegetation removal that we did. Me and Jimmy, we decided that there was a potential for fire hazard on this bridge, so we got a job together where we went ahead and got the vegetation removed, and so we've asked our maintenance group now to go out there once a year to go ahead and keep that clear for us so that we don't have any potential fire hazards in the future. On the bottom, I think this was one of the first years I was out doing inspections, and I came across this diaphragm that was like mattress-sized diaphragm that looked like it was going to fall out of the diaphragm or out of its spot right there and fall on the ground. And so it was actually kind of an emergency repair, and so we had to go through the process of getting it coordinated so everybody could go out there and get that diaphragm repaired at that particular bridge. We've had precast unit culverts where we've had heavy delamination occur, and so we've gotten those repaired as well. On this bridge, we had walking bearing pads on this bridge, and the main cause that I could determine when I was doing the research and stuff on why these were walking is you shouldn't ever, like a lesson learned on this is try not to design a bridge with a tapered bearing pad. You should make the bearing itself tapered, as I tried to do in my new design right there, where I had the steel plate on bottom and I put the taper to be so that we had a parallel movement with the girder at that point. Bridge, we had a huge erosion hole that was occurring right at the abutment, and so we went ahead and filled that with some slurry fill and then had them slope the top of that so that it would go down the abutment slope instead of pool up right there, right next to the abutment. Again, with some more erosion issues, the picture on the left, we didn't have any spillways, and so we were getting pooling and ponding in that area, so we had some spillways built. And then on the one on the right, it was kind of the same thing. We were having issues with pooling and undermining going on at that particular area, so we had also created a spillway so that the water could flow away from the structure.
Yeah, so I don't know, this bridge preservation work, you think, well, it's just a little job, but we still have to go through the whole process. We always have to get a right-of-way certification, a utility certification, a environmental certificate, all the clearances and everything that we have to do on any job, and we're always running into something. But anyway, I guess that's why they call it work, huh? To get a bridge preservation program started, I guess I've kind of gone through this twice in my career. In New Mexico, we started a bridge preservation program probably in the mid-90s, and we got it going fairly well. And I think they still have a pretty active program. And now I started one here in the county, And it's hard to get something started, but you really have to sell it that a little bit of spending early can save a lot of problems and some big expenditures at a later date. And you just have to keep talking to people. It's the old saying, if mom tells you no, well, go ask dad. Maybe he'll tell you yes, And keep shopping around. And that's the way it is with government. Government's the very same way. Maybe one place will tell you, well, there's nothing here, nothing. Yeah, you're just looking for one yes. That's all it takes, one yes. So keep looking. Bridge decks that are continually patched are expensive. They're expensive as heck. By the time you set up traffic control and you monitor and you send out a whole crew and you mobilize and you fix one little place, and then 2 weeks later you're out there doing it again, and then 3 weeks later you're doing it again, and then you're doing it again. It's like, come on, it's either preserve the deck or let it get bad enough where you can just replace it. But you really have to sell that. Erosion is a very easy fix if you catch erosion early. But if you wait till that erosion hole gets big enough to park a bus in there, it gets a little more expensive. And then the environmental clearances and the whole process just gets harder and harder if you let things go. Bridge deck joint upkeep, it can save the underside of the bridge and a lot of huge expenses, just like the concrete diaphragm we had blow out of that bridge. Had that joint been maintained and kept the water out, we wouldn't have ever had that diaphragm blow out. But waterproofing, basically on civil structures, can add a lot of life. So anything you do to waterproof, some people say, well, I don't know what to do. Should I do silane? Should I do the methacrylate? Should I do epoxy sealant? Should I do epoxy overlay? Should I don't know. Pick one. Pick four. Whatever you do, just pick them and get going with it. It'll save your agency a lot of money, your taxpayers a lot of money. It just takes a lot of work. You got to find funding, and then you got to determine how to get the work done. You got to get engineers involved. You got to get contractors involved, inspectors, permitting, clearances. Maybe you're lucky and can get your own maintenance staff to do some of the work. Our maintenance staff seems to want to work more on sidewalks and fixing pavement and that sort of thing. They haven't been too keen on working on bridges. So we basically contract all of our bridge preservation and maintenance work out. But we keep a 5-year plan updated where we're always looking ahead for future work. Spend money wisely. It does no good to put an epoxy overlay on a bridge deck that's 30% full of potholes. Your epoxy overlay will last about 2 weeks. It just doesn't make any sense. You got to do the right treatment at the right time, and if you do that, you can save a lot of money. We don't even know what inventory we have. Ryan was out driving the roads looking at things, and he found this 23-foot diameter culvert in 2016 that one day we were like, wow, we got another bridge. And that's not photoshopped. It was a 23-foot bridge. Okay, thank you.
I love to see that coordination between inspection and maintenance. That is an essential component to really hammer home preservation or any real functioning maintenance program.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.